Good afternoon, everybody. It's Friday. We always have these chats on Friday, so it's good to see everyone here today. It's the 15th of October, so we're um, halfway through October already. And it's episode 47 of Lessons in Leadership. My name's Mary Gregory, and I'm absolutely delighted to welcome a wonderful leader all the way from Denmark this morning. So we are very much an international show today. Brian Stroeh. Nice to meet you, Brian Stroeh.
Nice to meet you, Mary. Nice
And
to meet you.
thank you for joining me. I'm really enjoying your relaxed presence this morning. It's really good to have you here. So, Brian, you and I met. We are,
Yeah,
we're an example of how the internet and social media and all that sort of stuff works, because we met completely via social media and have had some good conversations actually about what we're going to talk about today. And that's why I invited you onto the show today. Firstly, because I think you're a great example of someone who stepped up into leadership at a pretty young age. And I think you've got things to share that will be helpful for us for that. But also in terms of the whole area of mentoring, which is kind of the theme of this morning's talk or call. But I want to kick off really to first of all focus on how you've got to be to where you are now. But really, what was it like stepping up at such a young age as a leader? So tell us a bit firstly about how you stepped up.
sure.
What were the circumstances and what that experience was like for you?
Definitely. It was very scary. It, I started, as you said, I started as a leader very young, 23, 24, where I got the opportunity to start a new department in a bigger organization here in Denmark, where I needed to hire 20 employees, and I had no experience whatsoever. So that was a very, very scary road to take, and the learning curve for me there was was very intense,
Yes.
both for good and bad. The good thing there was that I really got a quick experience on what it takes to be a leader, and how many facets there is on leadership, and
Yes.
also how to manage that way,
Yes.
creating the structure around a team, the KPIs so they reach their goals. How do you motivate other people? How much
Yes.
psychology there actually is in leadership,
Yes.
and that was surprising to me, especially at a young age there.
Yes. Yes. I can imagine. And I don't think I'd appreciated how much you started from nothing. That actually you had to establish the team of 20. You had to establish that particular division in the
Yeah,
organization you were part of, and there was nothing like it before.
yeah,
So no,
and it also, as my boss at that time, it was actually my manager's manager who
yes.
saw the potential there, um, also took a huge chance on doing that.
Yes.
Only by I have been employed in 3 months at the company at that point, and they closed down the department and moved to a different area in Denmark. And I
Yes.
moved along and got the opportunity to start it there. So that was where I, by accident, found out my path in my career, in my professional career.
So as if by accident. It's funny, isn't it? Because it feels like accidents. I wonder when you look back, do you really think it was an accident?
No, it's a combination of different circumstances, of course. You need to
Yeah.
be there to take the
Yes.
chances for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not a great believer in luck, but the more you train, the more you involve yourself in networks and things, the more lucky you get, and because
Yes.
there will come more opportunities to you,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
you need to take them. And,
Yeah.
and
So
some,
I hear the courage you had to take it, to step up, because it's easy to say no, isn't it? I'm not going to step up to that opportunity. But even
yeah,
that at that young age, despite being frightened yourself and talking about it being scary, because there was absolutely nothing, you were being asked to establish the whole thing, you
yeah,
still had the courage to step up and embrace it.
yeah. and as well, also a topic that you and I have been talking about before. I also have and had an ego that needs to. It was, yeah, of course I want to advance in my career
Yes.
and be leaders for other people and all that. So I took the challenge. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the drive
Yeah.
there was
So how did you, so this is because you've mentioned the word ego, and of course that's an area of interest for me. How did you manage your ego, or what did you learn about your ego in those times? Because for me, when you say it was scary, that means it was also, you would be vulnerable to your ego playing out or playing up potentially,
yeah,
certainly being triggered.
yeah, definitely. And my ego also got punched a couple of times during that period. But the
Yes.
first thing I learned was that I really need to be aware of it.
Yes.
That's the first step for me. And I don't really know actually. I'm just aware that that is a huge driver for me to take the next steps. And as we have been talking about before, I see it as a positive thing if you can manage it, and you are
Yes.
well aware that it can also be very harmful for other people if you're not able to navigate it.
Yes. What helped you navigate or manage yourself in those early days then?
Uh, Coaches, my leader, my
Yeah.
own leader,
Yeah.
made me aware of different decisions I needed to take, how I needed to take a deep breath in stressful situations where I got vulnerable,
Yes.
or in times where I didn't have the answer to questions that my employees were asking and stuff like that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I learned a lot in a young age, and trying to, with my job today, and also with Heroic Rhino, trying to pull on those experiences.
Yes, yes. So what I'm hearing there is, leadership is often set up as you are a leader, you are the leader or whatever. But what I'm actually hearing is that although leadership can almost be set up as a solitary role,
Mm.
you can't do it alone. You need support from others. So you need coaches, you need a leader who you had,
Yeah, for
who
sure.
was understanding and supported you.
Mm.
So you had your own leader you could call on. But also you've moved into the space now of mentoring. And again, I'm curious as to what caused you to move into that space of wanting to run a business that supports people to be mentored or to become mentors themselves. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah. For me, mentoring is leadership. It's there is a very clear line there between the two, or connection between the two. Um, and I think that also, just to get back to the leadership thing, it's not something that you don't become a leader. It's something that you earn
Yeah.
from your employees. But regarding the mentoring, I I really I just had some energy within me that needed to help very talented founders to achieve more than they did. And
Yes.
also all the statistic about that 9 out of 10 startups fail within the first 5 years, was I just got curious about it, and then I tested it out. Got some mentoring roles in some universities and some other accelerator programs around here in Denmark, and I figured out that this is very beneficial for me as a person. I develop as well, trying to share my own experiences to very skilled students,
Yes.
and all that. So I figured out that why are these very skilled people not succeeding with their businesses?
Right.
And what I learned there, and it's only take 2 minutes to search on Google, figuring out what is happening. That is the top 8 reasons why startups fail is the lack of business knowledge and business experience.
Okay.
So that was the part that I went into
That's
there.
the number one thing, and that's where a mentor could be so instrumental in supporting
Yeah,
somebody, because they've been there, they've done it, they've got the t-shirt, they can
yeah,
pass on some key information and knowledge for people to help them when
exactly.
they're starting up.
And there is, of course, in those areas, there is a lot of different elements that cause that, but it's something like misreading the demand in the market, not being able to find the right founding team, and
Yes.
stuff like that, product market fit in the whole thing.
Yes.
And there is always some people out there that has that experience or know how to, should you go in direction A or in direction B.
Yes.
So that was what I was just figuring out, how can we make that easier for founders to find those business people who wants to help.
Yes, yes. So, I mean, there is mentoring, and there's how you use mentoring, and there's effective mentoring and less effective mentoring. What do you think creates a really good mentoring mentee relationship? What really makes it work?
I think the most important part is the alignment of expectations. That's
Okay.
for sure. And the personality match. And you also need to find someone who has the relevant experience, of course.
Right. Okay.
But but aligning expectations is and personality match is very, very important,
Yes.
because you can go directly opposite directions if you don't match in personality there.
Yeah.
Then you need to find someone as a mentee. uh, from our perspective in Heroic Rhino, as a founder, you need to find someone who dares to challenge your thinking, but do
Mm.
it respectfully.
Mm.
So that is also important there. Um, and you need to be able to ask good questions as a good mentor,
Yeah.
and you need to be a good listener.
Yes. And what are some of the expectations of being a mentee, would you say? So those are expectations around what makes a good mentor. As a good mentee, what do you need to bring to the table?
As a good mentee, you need to be the one that drives it.
Okay.
You need to be the initiator of keeping the connection, because
Yes.
you are the one that has the most. You're the demander. You need it. You need
Yes.
the experience that the mentor have. So you have to be engaged in it, and also
Yes.
helping to set up the structure for them.
Hmm.
I'm sitting as an advisory board member here, and if I'm going to be more motivated as a mentor than the startup founders are, it's going to be very difficult,
Hmm.
since I have my professional career, I have my own business, and I helping them doing their business. So they need to take lead on when to meet, what are the topics, status, and so on and so forth. So that's the demand from a mentee, and you needs to be open as well as mentee.
Yeah.
Needs to be,
So there's some, what I'm hearing coming through here, both from the point of view of setting up the relationship between mentor and mentee, but also the fact the mentee drives the agenda. They drive the relationship. Really, they say what they need and when they need it, and have the questions that they want answered from the mentor.
yeah.
There's some real similarities to coaching.
Mhm.
And of course, I'm a coach, so I'm picking up on some of the similarities here, which are to do with the whole thing about aligning expectations, being really clear about what's required from that mentor-mentee relationship. You do the same with coaching, that I would always check in and say, what's your expectations? What do you want to get from coaching? Here's
Mhm.
what I expect from you as a coachee. So very similar things. But there are also some big differences. So, what do you see as some of the differences between coaching and mentoring?
There is a few. I think the first thing is that when there is money involved, the communication between one another is going to take a different path compared to if there was not. And the thing is that with mentoring, in terms of how we are trying to describe mentoring, that is a long-term relationship where there is more subtle benefits for the mentor.
Right.
So that is, it's not totally philanthropy, but of course there is some other elements that you get closer to, in our perspective, to the startup community, innovation, new trends. You get closer to investments, but there's no
Yes.
directly in line of that
Yeah.
sort. So the things are more indirectly for the mentor. And so what I see the differences is there, and that coaches and consultants and advisors and freelancers are task-based jobs where you, for a short period of time, what you get is what you pay for. That is the difference from mentoring. That is a more subtle, you're both talking about your motivation, more personal stuff. You're also talking about how you drive your business on a more technical level. How do you build your strategy? And how do you become a better person, a better business guy?
So can I just get some clarity here then? So from what you've got set up with Heroic Rhino, you provide mentors for business startups. And are you saying those mentors don't get paid? They do it as a voluntary thing?
Yeah, that is the whole
Okay.
concept here. And
Yeah.
let me explain. The mentoring concept and the mentoring term is not a new thing. Mentoring has been around since humankind.
Yeah.
And it's in general, mentoring by definition is a child-parent relationship. Mentoring is that you contact or get a connection or relationship with someone who knows better.
Okay.
Not on every field, but in the field that you need, as for us,
Yes.
a founder
Yes.
needs to get something from.
Yes.
And what the difference also are, when I compare it, where we have one of our challenges with Heroic Rhino is the communication towards the mentors versus the consultants. Because consultants, why on earth should they share their knowledge for free when they're doing it for a living?
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is that we want people that don't do it for a living, as me,
Yeah.
as myself,
Yes.
as many universities are doing.
Yes.
They also set up mentoring programs, and there is a lot of people out there that really wants to help other
Yes.
people
Yes.
and don't do it for a living.
Yes.
That way around. So, and the thing where things are really get differentiate between the mentors and the consultants is that here you get the consultant to do a very specific work in a very narrow place for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And it can be on website design, SoMe campaigning. It can be, dear consultant, build a business plan for us. But you as a founder don't get better at executing it or thinking in that way or learning how to do it. So how we see it here is mentoring is a way to improve yourself in a different way.
So being a mentor is a way to improve yourself. That's one of the paybacks that you get from it. Yeah. Okay. And I suppose what I'm also thinking is, for me, coaching is a very specific skill set that often leaders find it difficult to take on. You know, I run a lot of leader as coach programs, and one of the biggest challenges leaders have is not going into that mentor role and fixing it and trying to fix it for the people on their team, because coaching, the focus is very different.
Yeah.
And as a skill set, it takes a lot of refining. So, you know, coaches, you know, you want to work with a coach who's worth their salt. They've really got to be working on themselves. They've got to be refining their ability to coach and to listen and all of that sort of stuff over a period of time. It's not just about being able to provide answers for their clients, which is, I think, more about what mentoring is about.
Yeah.
So with the mentors that you take on, do you do any work on supporting them with their skill set to be able to deliver really good quality mentoring? Just wondered if there's any parallels there.
Yeah, I think that what we want to do is that there is, if you're not working as a coach or a trainer in some way, or a mentor in your professional life, you really need um, to to have the skill set, because you you need to be able to ask questions the right way, but you also have
Yeah.
to be there is a certain skill set you need to be a mentor, for sure.
Yes.
You need to
Yes.
be able to give away experience in some way.
Yes.
But there's
Yes.
also many different ways to be a mentor. I think
Yes.
that the term mentoring is also a way to try to label it.
Yes.
It's a teacher. It's someone you can ask a question in difficult times, and
Yes.
trying to solve your issues in some way.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so that's a really interesting exploration then of the differences between coaching and mentoring. And I'm still processing. I think you're doing really well that you've got mentors who are happy to step forward and do it only on a voluntarily basis. That's great that you've got that set off. But because I think in the coaching world, what the slight struggle I've got is that coaches invest an awful lot of their time and energy and money in developing themselves and their skill set.
Mm-hmm.
And that in itself is a valuable thing to be paid for by their clients.
Mm-hmm.
There's bound to be some parallels with mentors who want to charge for their skills as well, and
Yeah,
their wisdom. They've got a lot of wisdom there that they're
for sure.
passing on. So it's incredible. You've got lots of people stepping up to be mentors who aren't necessarily going to be paid for it,
Yeah.
but they get paid in different ways. It's not just the financial reward.
Yeah, it's also a more long-term investment for the mentor.
Yes.
As I said before, as a mentor, when you invest your time in a startup, there is a lot of benefits for you to
Yes.
go there. Not
Yes.
a direct transaction in money or an hourly payment,
Yeah.
but you get closer to the community. And
Yeah.
it's also good for your resume for that sake.
Yeah.
It's
Good
you
for your
learn.
reputation, I guess.
Good for your reputation.
Yeah.
It's also a good way to to refine your leadership and your management skills in your interpersonal way of communicating. There's a lot of
Yes.
traits that you can sharpen in many ways to go there. And
Yes.
also, as a mentor, you need to look ahead
Yes.
to see that, okay, if I get closer to this startup, I can get A, B, C, D out of it, but not get paid now.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
and as I said before, it's not a new thing.
Yeah.
It's been around
Yeah.
for a very long time, and also the universities are doing it right now. Have a
Yes.
lot of mentors attached. They don't get paid,
No.
but what you see in the future is that many of those mentors are getting CXO positions. They are
Right.
going in as angel investors. They are getting their reputation off, and advancing their career in some way.
Yeah.
So that's
Yes.
why we are going for the business people that don't have it as a direct career, but
Yes. Yes. Okay, that's interesting. So I'm conscious of time. So, and I haven't asked you my question, which I want to ask you about your own is returning to your own personal journey a bit here.
yeah.
So, this is lessons in leadership, and I see yourself as a leader. You stepped up as a leader at a very young age. You're now running your own business in Heroic Rhino. What I'm curious about is, what is a key lesson that you'd like to share with us around being a leader? So something that may have happened to you that caused you to step back, take stock, or catch your breath, and has shifted your perspective in terms of who you are as a leader and how you show up. Do you have a specific situation you could share with us today?
Yeah, I have a few, but what I have learned the most is that for me to be able to be a good leader, or try to at least, is to acknowledge that your team members is stronger in specific skills than you are.
Right.
So you don't have to, or should be, as a leader, the best in everything. And
Yes.
I have seen a lot of leaders trying to be the best in every single field.
Is that something that you tried to be when you first stepped up?
Of course.
And that is the ego coming through,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. And that is also the thing here, that I it's actually Simon Sinek that have a topic there that is very interesting, and that is that what we do at this point is that the best performers are always the ones that get the leadership roles, the management roles, but the high performers are not. It's not common grounds that you, as the best performer, are the best leader.
Absolutely.
It's a different skill set there.
It is.
So that is, I think, you should.
So yeah, I get that, and it's something about really being willing to step to one side and let other people step up and shine in areas that you're not able to shine in. That is part of your job as a leader, actually, isn't it?
It's also very motivating for your employees to know that, okay, I get the recognition from my leader that this is my field, so I can take ownership on this specific area, because here I'm superior, I'm better, I'm more skilled, and I'm better at doing this job than my leader.
Yes.
So you need to add value in a different skill set. So
great. So that's a really great lesson to share. Get out of the way and let your team shine. It's not all about you.
Definitely.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, well, we are coming to the end. We have had people watching today, which is great. Do make comments if anyone is would like to, that's still watching, on what Brian's been saying, or make comments afterwards. We'll always come back to them. But Brian, before we complete, is there, we're still in, I don't know what's like in Denmark at the moment, but in the UK, we're out of lockdown. There's all different things going on. We've kind of gone through this pandemic. It seems to be calming down, but of course we are in times of great uncertainty still. Any final words of wisdom that you'd like to pass on to our listeners?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think that probably not some wisdom, but I can see that the whole market in the way we work is getting more flexible, and I really think that is a good learning for all of us, that sometimes we need to get pressured out in a very critical situation to change direction in the way we do things. And that's that's probably it. I think that's very interesting.
So being prepared for the fact that we
home and work from everywhere, and it's accepted by the organizations in a bigger extent than before.
Yes, and how to navigate that.
For sure.
Great. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a real pleasure having you join us all the way from Denmark. And thank you for those of you who are watching. As I said, do make your comments, do write comments in the comments box below. We do respond to all of them. And if you're watching in catch up, please also make comments as well. We do love to interact on these subjects. Next week, we are joined by Bonnie Wims. We are going all the way over to New York, actually. Bonnie is joining us from the US of A. And Bonnie is a psychologist and a therapist, and the topic that we'll be exploring with Bonnie is all to do with mental health and wellness in leadership. So do join us next Friday, 12 noon, Lessons in Leadership. We'll see you then. Thank you all so much.